Hello, Doc.
Hey, Neetika.
So, for the longest time, we've been talking on holistic wellness. It's time we tell our audience the small little things that we do within our practice at Studio Aesthetic, which goes a whole long way in creating wellness for our patients.
So, my first question to you would be, what do you understand by holistic wellness? Is it that you're going to stop yourself from becoming bimar? Is it that you're going to lead a happy life? Or are you going to be able to fight your infections and fight the hard life that you have?
So, I think, Doc, that holistic wellness is when your body, mind, spirit all are in sync with each other. So when there's a happy mind and not a restless monkey mind, and you're eating right, so you're doing the right things for your body, sleeping right, because exercise and sleeping both are important for the body. A body that's deprived of good sleep very often is a site of infections, low immunity. So when we integrate holism, as in we look at our body, mind, and soul together, that is holistic wellness. Also, very often today, we know that what begins in our mind ages back over decades can manifest as disease. So keeping the mind in a happy state, doing things that make you happy. हमारे पास when our patients come, they've probably been harboring that disease for a while before it manifests in their physical body. So let's go back to the roots. Where is that disease originating from and treating that? That I think is holistic wellness.
Yeah, I have heard you telling often that your health is dependent on gut health.
Absolutely.
So, where does spirit come in? Where does mind come in? I mean, they're very different. If your illness depends on gut health, that's what I've heard you say very often.
Absolutely.
So, how do you integrate spirit and mind into the gut health?
Brilliant question. Okay, Doc, there's enough research now saying that when the mind is calm and peace, the mind gut axis is a huge axis. In fact, our gut is known as the second brain. So the mind brain axis, the brain gut axis is so much calmer. There's a growth of positive, happy, good bacteria that are symbiotic for our life. And there's a natural keeping down the bad bacteria if our mind is at rest. If the mind is agitated, if the mind is not at peace, if it's not rested, the gut bacteria rise. So there's a direct link between the two.
Yes, I know. Even if you're stressed or anxious, and or like you said, thinking all the time and not in a happy space, you have hyperacidity. Your acid release is like increases, and definitely then.
So stress is known to affect every system in the body some way. Now, how do we do things? So yeah, the mind is different than the spirit. So I say body, mind, spirit. How do we do things to keep the mind at peace? That's mindfulness. That's looking within, and that's where the soul aspect comes in.
How does one do that? It's so easy to say mindfulness, look within. I'm trying. I see a very nice person in there.
You are a nice person, you will see that. But yeah, I think there are many ways for mindfulness, starting with basic things, maintaining an everyday journal, and then going back to that journal. Journaling goes a long way in showing us what's making us happy, what's making us sad. And then you go back a month before, and you'll probably see that you've overcome the things that had made you sad because you're maintaining a journal. So, journaling and sitting in absolute silence,
I
learning to
agree.
sit. I think meditation is an overused word. बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ती है to get meditative. But even if we can begin to sit down in silence and do a bit of inner reflection, go through your past day, the entire day, and see at the end of the night that what were the things that made you happy? What were the things that you think you could improvise? A harsh statement that you made, something. So begin to open up the sixth sense within us, our guiding force that very often tells us, but we silence it because we don't allow it to speak. So getting quiet allows our inner voice to speak to us.
Like I am an early riser. I wake up by 5:30, and from then until 7, when the household wakes up, It's me time, quiet time, peace time. I tell you, it's so essential for me to have that because I find that I'm centering. I've taken the clutter out before going to bed. That's another regime that I follow. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm looking forward to the day. I'm looking forward to, as you say, introspection and just quiet. You hear the birds, see the sunlight coming up. It does something different to your body. It does something different to your mind.
Absolutely.
Some people believe in waking up late, like noon, midday. They have missed this beautiful few hours of absolute beauty, calm, peace, and it definitely does something to my brain that I step out happy. And
I think the feel good hormones,
absolutely,
and the hormones that keep you in a state of bliss are released in the morning by the pineal gland, and you have to learn to activate. It's like a muscle, if we don't use this, it's not going to get better. So even our glands are similar. We
absolutely
have to work, and that's why circadian rhythm is so important. Wake up before the sun, go to bed with the sun. Um, we were talking of how to integrate the soul. Other thing is the habit of prayer and gratitude. The more gratitude we have, the more grace will follow. So to look at the positives in our life instead of focusing कि ये नहीं है हमारे पास, let's focus on ये है हमारे पास. So shifting our focus from the negatives to the positives helps in settling the mind and uplifting our soul and also maintaining good relationships, a good talk. There's so much for our soul, for our spirit, spending time with the loved ones.
You're describing a utopian situation, an ideal situation. But when you see people going about their day-to-day life, they're under so much stress, so much pressure. They're sweating, they have missed the train, they've gotten late to work. So much pressure in their life. How can they even achieve this kind of peace and calm?
So, peace is a state of mind. You can run from one place to another seeking peace, that I'll go on vacation and I'll get peace. But that's not how it is. It's the same mind that's going with you everywhere. So you have to have an internal sense of peace and calm. And for that, like you said, waking up early in the morning, you're getting access to the hormones, which poor hormones, they don't get to show up for you if you sleep your way through them. So waking up early in the morning, going out and spending some time in nature, so important. Trees, while they release oxygen, which we all need, they also release great energy and vibrations into this universe.
Certainly.
Lately, I was reading a journal which was saying that earlier, one of the biggest cures for cancer was a walk in the jungles. Every day, walk in the jungles because the trees absorb all of that and they release a few chemicals which work like chemotherapeutic agents.
Wow.
So, going back to
is
living
this finding
simplistic life.
Is this finding research based or
absolutely research based? The reason so many people are getting sick today is they're moving away from real friends to technology. They have friends on different platforms, but nobody real who turns up. You may have 40,000 followers and friends on any platform, but when you're sick, you actually need someone to hold you and spend time with you, and that is missing from today's generation.
Yeah, their friends are all online. True, fake, presumed, everybody is online. But I think it has become like a need to isolate yourself because you're so sick of everything around you. You want to stay in your bubble, stay in your safe space that you've created with your laptop and your phones. It's a psychological need. It has become a need for these people who are unable to cope because they're missing out on all this.
Absolutely.
The mind, body, spirit sync. If they can achieve that, if they can get to that point, I think technology will be just use and throw, need based, and for professional reasons, not for all this.
I mean, you said it so right that technology should be used and thrown. We should not become puppets in the hand of technology,
slave of technology,
which is what's happening. But another very important thing that I'd like to bring forth here, Doc, is that Google has suddenly made everybody a doctor.
yeah.
The years that we spend studying and getting information and advice has suddenly comes out on Google. Everybody, any medicine I prescribe today, my patient will go and Google about it and read the adverse reactions first and come back, oh, that this gives this. So, and there is no other profession that has been so effective besides medicine. There are people who are talking on how to live life. Everybody is a guru, a self-made guru today. So, a lot of people don't go to doctors at the right time, listening to these gurus, and then they come to the doctors at the last stage of their disease process. So, providing right information to the world is also important. That go to your doctor. The doctor is better trained than someone who's not, but go to a doctor who's ready to inculcate holism in his
I would
practice.
advise that, okay, you can't shut out all these noises. So hear and only believe and follow the person who has credentials, who announces her credentials or his credentials. Ki I am so and so, I'm a doctor here and my specialty is this, or I'm an Ayurved specialist. Unless they announce the credentials, you don't even need to go fact check. It's all bullshit. So stay away from these people is how I would advise. And yes, like you said, consult a doctor, consult people who are carrying age-old wisdom in their own lives and have propagated it around. They're good people to listen to.
Absolutely, absolutely. And tell me, when you're consulting a patient, what do you do different in terms of not just helping them with their skin and hair condition and their outwardly looks, but what do you do that changes them within?
See, skin is the face of anything that's going good or bad in your body. And like we discussed, mind, spirit, and body. All three. Anything going wrong with anywhere, which you don't even know it's happening. So what I do different is when a person comes with a face full of acne or hair fall or hyperpigmentation, it's not that you're out in the sun or your hormones are playing havoc. Why is the hormone playing havoc with you? What is different about you? I counsel them for a good amount of time.
Detailed history taken.
Yes, and I get to the bottom of what is the root cause of problem. Because if you just treat the skin and you have not treated what's causing it, it's never going to improve. So my treatment, like you said, holistic. I believe in holistic. I incorporate it in my treatment. I give them advice, a lot of wise advice. Take it or leave it. But I give it because I know that is going to help them. Not just eating well, not just sleeping well, not just having good people around you or using it judiciously, spending your time. That's all there. But what are you doing with your mind? Everything that goes wrong with the body is directly related to the brain, directly related to the mind, to the emotions, to your feelings. That is where it all starts from. I like to be the person you can talk to. I like to be the person who can, sponge off your problems, take it away from you, and maybe thank you, and maybe give you a few words of wisdom that would help you change your track and improve your life. I think everybody needs to first take off clutter from their life. Negative people, negative news, negative series, horror stories, that should all be taken out of your life. First, find your own peace of mind. First, find your own sanity, and then take that step forward. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Am I talking utopian again?
No, that's how all of us should be practicing, where we take detailed history taking, because very often within that lies the
cause of
the disease and the right treatment.
Yeah.
At the dental part, what I do is, while I'm doing a root canal, because dentistry, unless you take care of the problem, you have to actually treat that offending tooth or the gums that are inflamed. You have to physically get in and do the treatment, because medication doesn't work. So what I do is play a certain frequency of music. So the frequency works well in calming the patient.
Oh, I've been through that with you.
Yeah.
I would ask you for that particular music that used to calm me down when you were messing with my mouth.
Messing. Okay. But Yeah, so it did calm you
It
down.
did,
Right?
for
So
sure.
just having a nice environment where you feel welcome, and we don't like to have the dental smells. Earlier, when I used to go to a dentist, and we used to have that lingering dental smell, like particular smell. So I feel the clinic should be very inviting, good aroma, a very peaceful, environment with the staff who look after you like family, and a chair. We've just recently introduced, in fact, I have to show that to you. I've got this device for the eyes, which gives you heat with vibrations with relaxing music. So then it takes away all the sound of the drill, and it's also massaging your eyes while giving you a heat pack. So that completely changes the focus of the patient who's worried or scared, and he absolutely gives himself up to you. And when the patient and you are in sync and there's no negative, I've always seen a person who will come questioning, who has doubts, उनके साथ the treatment fails, or something doesn't go
No,
right.
it doesn't trust you.
Yes,
I think trusting your doctor is your first important component
absolutely.
in healing.
Absolutely. Healing works best when there is trust between.
Most people shop for doctors, and in that shopping list, you may be one of them.
Yeah,
But what clicks is how do you build that trust? How
absolutely.
you build that confidence that the client patient thinks, hey, yeah, she's talking sense. I think I should go to her.
And how you also, at the end of your treatment, kind of empower them with their own health by giving them little gentle piece of advice during the treatment.
Absolutely.
And that's what I've seen gets 3 generations of patients coming back to us, that because we see our patients so often as skin doctors and as dentists, that they come to us more often than they would go to any other professional. So we develop a bond where very often, that's why we have a couch in each room, where you're not just playing their dentist or dermat, but you're also their counselor.
Yeah, absolutely. Must counseling is so important. And in skin treatments, besides all the medical and the therapeutic and the lasers and the machines and the peels and chemicals, all that is one side. But once I've gone through all this, I definitely give them home remedies. I definitely give them maintenance advice about how to keep looking good as they wanted to, because I've done you a good job. I don't want you ruining it. So I'm a big proponent of home remedies because these are age-old, tried and found true methods.
I've seen you on Nuske.
Yeah, and it does help. It does help. I've got one patient who came who had very dark lips, and I told her to do the sugar scrub with rose petals, and she came back and showed me that lips are not so dark anymore.
In fact, Doc, I recently just got a message from a patient who said that she's used 40 different sunscreens and spent loads of money on products, but her skin is still dulling, and it's the worst it's ever been, and no sunscreen is helping her. What would you recommend to someone like that?
First thing first, you got to cool your body from the inside as well. And yes, sunscreen is not, you should not use sunscreen at all times. Only between 10 to 2, or if you're out in the field, out in the hot sun, under the sun, and with your hat and everything, then you should. Because you see what, when we're putting sunscreen all day, we're depriving our body from absorbing the vitamin D3 that's coming from the sun. You're creating a barrier. You don't get it. So early morning sun is wonderful. So don't get up and slather yourself with sunscreen. I don't. And second is cooling the body from inside is plenty of water. Just see your face glow. You don't need sunscreens to make you gora or less tanned. The tanning will happen, pigmentation will happen because that is the way body is made to protect you. You need those melanin pigments to protect you from our kind of sun, the UV rays and UVB. So if you use too much of sunscreen, these melanocytes are not working. You don't get the melanin pigment. A little turning brown is fine if you're out in the sun. If you're in the beach, is good. You don't want to burn. You don't want to ruin your skin's quality. So you use sunscreen when the sun is harsh and you know the UVA and B rays are at their peak and most harmful, then use sunscreen. I don't recommend sunscreen. Some people say कि आप अंदर भी बैठे हैं तो भी sunscreen लगी होनी चाहिए. You have to have sunscreen all day. No, you're depriving your body of much needed melanin pigments. That is your protection. So there are Different people have different opinions. Some may not agree with me, but this is logical. This is practical, and this is how it should be. So let her not worry about skin looking dull. There has to be some other reason.
Yeah.
Sunscreen itself is not helping her, which means her body is asking for something else. She must get a good consult. If she drinks a lot of water, hydrates herself well, and uses sunscreen and still doesn't find improvement, there's some other reason.
Yeah, so we're coming back to wellness, right?
Wellness, yeah.
That it's not the product that will help you, but a deeper inner reflection of what's
Absolutely.
going wrong, finding the cause. Great, Doc.
For me, the best beauty secret is pani. Drink a lot of water, and you'll see all your ailments, all your skin problems running away. And she'll also say a dry mouth smells bad.
Absolutely. I mean, saliva is best immunity inside the mouth. Saliva, if you have good salivation, which you will have if you're hydrating well.
Absolutely.
So saliva kills bacteria, kills microorganisms, takes care of everything. You know, I mean, our mouth is where everything begins. We start with the mouth. The disease begins right there in the mouth. So there are many ways where we, without the help of medication or anything, we can stick to good oral hygiene, and we can be very, very healthy, not just with our oral health, but overall physical health.
That should be the starting point of maintaining a good health. So let's hydrate ourselves, have a glass of coconut water or nimbu pani.
Sure.
So good
Great
talking to you.
conversation.
Thank you.